This is another small piece that I wrote entitled "The Soul Pilot," and it's trying to distinguish the difference between the love of God and the love of people and the world. But the love of God is synonymous with light, God Himself, the Holy Spirit, and the soul, spiritual love. Whereas a love of the world is a love of darkness, it's a love of your emotions, and it's therefore a love of the flesh. And so they all go together. Light, soul, God, and spirit are all together in one camp, and the flesh, emotions, and darkness and the material world are in the other. And you can't love God at the same time that you love the world. So Paul writes in 2 Corinthians 12:15, "And I will very gladly spend and be spent for you, though the more abundantly I love you, the less I be loved." I write, "The greater our desire to receive love of others, the greater the lack of God in our lives. For the love of others is of the flesh, but the love of God is of the soul." Many yearn to feel loved, and just as many are unaware that this compulsion is of the flesh. The desire to feel love is bound with our degrading bodies, for when we transcend these bodies, our feelings will no longer guide us, but our soul will then occupy that vacant space. If feelings are a reflection of the soul, then I ask, when the time comes, will you trust your soul to navigate away from darkness? Will you trust your soul to navigate away from darkness? It is worth considering the overwhelming amount of time each of us spends in willful darkness, living against that guilty conscience which illuminates the straight and narrow path. That guilty conscience is the Holy Spirit convicting you. Christ is speaking in Matthew 6:22-23, and it reads, "The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. But if thine eye be evil, thy whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness?" And I write, "So long as we are led by our feelings, we will persist to bathe in darkness. But how clear might our discernment be of the light whilst we continue to submerge ourselves in darkness?" How clear can you really see as long as you're being led by your love of the world, by your love of drinking or smoking, or that dependent affection of your partner telling you that you're pretty or that he or she loves you, etc., etc.?